Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here at the Hollywood Museum in the historic Max Factor building, and our guests today are director John Hindman and actor-musician Ty Jeffries. Director, writer, actor John Hindman was born in Colorado. He grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area and went to Cal State Sacramento. He directs film and theater, is a writer and an actor in both film and theater, and also teaches at the Aquila
Morong Studio for Actors.
Oh boy, I was wrong. Aquila Morong Studio for Actors. So let's start in Sacramento. Hi, John.
Hi.
Was that a writer's school when you went to school up there?
That was just a way for me to move out of the house and pretend to go to college somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah, I was an unfocused person back then. But
was Joan Didion going to that school? Did she go to that school? Sacramento?
I don't know.
I think she was up in that area. That's why I wondered if that was a writer's school.
I can't tell you the degree to which I was not paying attention.
Right now, you're telling me.
Yeah. No, not to what you said. To that
the idea.
That school. What was important about me going to Sacramento State was that I, through happenstance, found myself in a talent show competition, and which I won by doing stand-up comedy for the first time.
Oh, this is how you got started, right?
Yeah, and so I did stand-up for 10 years.
But why? Why did you start with stand-up? Were you going to be an actor?
I thought about that. I really only wanted to be a director since I was 10, and I walked out of Rocky.
You did?
Yep.
Because it's such a kind of a thing that comes along with cultivation of writing and theater to be a director, right? And films.
Well, I think you have a sense of it like anything else. You know, I think like for me at least, I went to that movie, and I didn't know that particular artistic medium had that degree of power to rearrange me on a cellular level. And so you feel like you want to participate in what you are, and I love that, and I want to make it. Was my
That's really interesting. It's very interesting that you would aspire to be a director at such a young age. Acting, I could see, but you didn't care about being an actor.
That was something that I could do, and I was also doing since I was about 10.
You were doing it.
Yeah, and I liked it. I thought it was fun, and I liked it.
Was there any of this in your family?
My dad is a jazz pianist.
Oh, so you had a little bit of background for
Yeah, there's,
theatrics.
He was the musical director at ACT for about 7 years.
Oh, in San Francisco?
Yeah. So I've kind of grown up a little bit in that,
in
an artistic environment.
Exactly.
No one encouraged me necessarily.
But were you young? Was he at ACT then when you saw Rocky?
I saw Rocky a couple years before he became.
Because I'm like wondering how the direction thing came so strong.
I don't know that you actually think in those terms when you're in the 4th grade. I think that you just think like, I want to make movies.
I want to make movies.
I love that. I want to do that.
I see. So you were acting. Mm-hmm. You were doing stand-up. Stand-up came from a class or from?
It was there's a talent show at Cal State Sacramento.
That's
called,
where you went?
Yeah, it was a big talent show, and I entered.
Did you write your own material?
I did. Yeah, I did. And it worked out. And then I was encouraged to be in this other talent scouting program in which people who booked acts for all the other state universities would come and watch.
Oh, it was for
And they would say like, oh, we want this guy to come and we want this guy to come. So all of a sudden I was like 21 years old, and I was going to all these different colleges doing what, in my mind, passed for stand-up then. But
did you ever go to stand-up?
I got better.
Did you ever go to stand-up classes? Did you ever take those classes?
No. No.
So you really, really did it on your own. You were directing yourself, writing your own material, and actually delivering it.
Yeah, and I got better at it. Honestly, I think I like it more as a hobby than a job.
Will you still do it?
I'll do it for fun once in a while. I don't really like being on the road.
Oh, that was a.
Once you've been to the Super 8 Motel in St. Paul, you don't really need to. You don't need to go.
Listen, the Super 8 Motel in Sacramento isn't so great either.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
But so, as a director of film and theater, you've done both.
Correct.
And how different are they?
They're very different. There's a lot more pressure in making a movie because you're always fighting time. And in theater, you have so much more time to rehearse, to explore, to get into the bruised, breaking, beautiful heart of the story, to find what I call the secret play, the story that's underneath the words. Also, what's beautiful about theater from a director's standpoint is that, in a movie, whenever you wrap out of a location, that's it. You're done. Like, we're never coming back here again. We shot here today, and that's it. In the theater, like, you always get another shot.
And you come back tomorrow night?
You always get to come back.
And you come back the weekend? You mean you're coming back and
yep,
back?
You just keep coming back.
Do you keep changing, though, as you come back and see what's going on in the theater? What's going on the stage?
Yeah, I mean, I really try to not miss a performance.
Do you fine-tooth it? Is that like you're always trying to change it?
I'll have some thoughts. Yeah, I'll have some thoughts along the way. Like, I really loved how you did this, or isn't it so great how this idea that you had paid off, or
yeah,
And we're in it together. I don't like to just teach you how to ride a bike and I'll see you later. Like,
yeah, well, what is the style? What styles for a film differ from a style on the theater besides having the time like that?
Well, I think that theater and film are structured differently. Fundamentally, movies work that kind of storytelling. They work the same way every single time. So, like, the same things happen in the same place. You don't notice it like that because the stories are so different, like whether it's Jaws or E.T. or Sophie's Choice.
It's always happening.
But it's basically, that medium has evolved as a storytelling device into what we know it as now.
Like, you see it
right, which is how
away.
When something like Annie Hall shows up, it feels so groundbreaking because it's breaking the rules of what we believe storytelling to be in cinema.
Progression, like it's
right. Whereas plays aren't, they don't necessarily have to adhere to that structure. They can be a one act. They can not resolve. They can remain a mystery. So
but directing. I mean, how do you change? Do you use different styles? Like, if you're directing for a movie, do you direct your actors a different way than if you were directing them on the stage, or do you give the same directions?
Well, I think it's the same. It's just you're making a different meal. Like, you're the same.
Right.
You're the same chef. You're just making a different meal. Like in
a different way, I guess, right?
In a different way. Like in scenes in a movie, like the scene is about the one thing that's needed to keep the story moving forward. So they're much shorter. Whereas, like, with a play like Gruesome Playground Injuries,
yeah, I want to talk about that.
The actors never leave the stage.
Oh, so is it, okay, we're going to get to that, but I want to get, because you wrote Dreams of the Romans, and did you make it into a film too?
I did. Magnolia changed the title. It was called The Answer Man, and it starred Jeff Daniels and Lauren Graham and a bunch of other really terrific people, Kat Dennings, Tony Hale. So
you wrote it, and did you direct it?
I did direct it, yeah.
Okay, and then the other one was a single...
there's a play that I've recently finished called A Single Famished Kiss.
A Single Famished Kiss.
Yeah.
So that's a play.
That's a play.
And Jericho?
Play.
Another play. Did you direct both of those plays?
I'm directing Jericho later this year. I just finished A Single Famished Kiss, and I'm in post-production on a movie that I wrote and directed called The Passing Parade.
So you've got they're like intertwined. That's why I'm bringing them all up, because these two, A Single Famished Kiss, where was it?
I mean, where
did it play?
Oh, I haven't. I just finished writing.
Oh, you just finished
writing? Yeah, sorry. When
I
said finished, you leapt to the idea that I had finished directing it.
I did.
And you're not at fault for that.
I did.
No,
Oh, you just finished writing it.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, so now what's the process then? Let's talk about the process. You've finished it. Now what happens to it?
Now I will find the two best actors that I can get my hands on to have a stage reading in front of a large group of people for
I
as many
see.
nights as humanly possible, and
So
then
they
I get notes from.
They sit and read
That's right.
to investors or just people? Just people.
Just people. Yeah. And I'll get notes from people, and my rule is that 3 is a consensus and 1 is an opinion. So if 3 people say the same thing,
They like, yeah.
I'll make that change.
Oh, I see. So, in Jericho, it's already written.
It's already written. I had a stage reading a few months ago for 3 nights at a theater in North Hollywood, and I'm satisfied with the result. And I'll probably direct that this fall.
So same thing. Right now, you're in the process of directing Gruesome Playground.
Injuries.
Gruesome Injuries.
Gruesome Playground
Is it?
Injuries.
Oh, Gruesome Playground Injuries.
Correct.
By Rajiv Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote The Bengal Tiger.
Yep.
Fantastic play.
Fantastic.
And has he been out here?
He has. He comes out here all the time. I mean, at the Geffen they just did what is it? Guards of
Oh,
the
they
Guards
did.
Of the Taj.
That was fabulous.
Yeah.
Guards of the Taj, right?
Yeah, he was
Right.
there. He's a terrific guy. He's a terrific writer. You know,
Does he
was
give you
nominated
notes?
for the. Oh, he has not yet come to our rehearsals.
But you know him.
I know people that know him, and I have seen him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you choose?
In Hollywood, it makes him my best friend.
How did you choose Rajiv's play to direct, or did they choose you?
Sarah Ray Foster, who plays Kayleen in Gruesome Playground Injuries, is someone that I was fortunate enough to work with before. I directed her in Crimes of the Heart. She has always been in love with this play as long as I've known her.
Oh.
Like this play is her mission in life.
Really?
Yep. She's always wanted to do it, and in December she called me and said, "I really want to do this. Let's do it now."
Okay, why? What is this play about?
Well, you know, it follows 2 star-crossed lovers, if you will, two people who over the course of 30 years are never ready for the other person at the same time.
Oh, that's so great.
And it jumps around in time a lot. It's not chronological. So they're 8 years old, and then they're 23, then they're 18, then they're 33, and it's really a metaphor, ultimately, for the wounds that we all carry in our hearts, in our soul, the wounds that are made upon us by life or other people, or more often than not by ourselves, and how that damage keeps us from connecting with the people that we love the most, and in the case of these characters, allowing other people into their own hearts.
So that's the playground.
Sort of,
Pretty
yeah.
much
I mean,
the
I like.
playground, and that's your injury of these wounds that you have, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't really feel that different than I did when I was 8 years old. You know, like I've had more experience, and certainly my body's different. But like
You're carrying that same thing. Is that what you're saying?
well, I'm saying that like love still feels like love, and loss feels like loss, and longing feels like longing, and like heartache feels like heartache. Just because my mind has evolved to the place that I can sort of disassemble those feelings and try and hand it back to myself in a way that I can understand doesn't change my emotional life, you know. And
are you going to act again?
I was just in a play in January.
You were.
I was in a play, and then I had a little part in a movie that came out, or it's going to come out in July, by the writer director of Whiplash.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
great.
It's called La La Land. And
Yeah.
I play a director.
So there,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Everyone, he plays a director. He
Yep.
is a director. Don't go away because we'll be right back with Ty Jeffries. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Hi, it's Joan Quinn. Welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum, and our guest is actor, singer, performer Ty Jeffries, who was born and raised in the UK, studied at the Purcell School of Music in London, and went to Beverly Hills Catholic School for 2 years. So tell me what you were doing in Beverly Hills Catholic, where my daughters went to school.
I know, isn't that amazing? What a small world.
It wasn't Sister Leonella then, was it?
I don't think so. I think possibly somewhat before Sister Leonella.
Sister Leonella, who used to always say, Joan, no is a word of love. So tell your kids no all the time.
Yes, it's good to have boundaries, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We certainly had boundaries. My father was the actor Lionel Jeffries, who came over. He made a number of movies, Notorious Landlady with Fred Astaire and Kim Novak.
He made them all here.
Yes, another movie with Rosalind Russell.
And did he have the heavy, was he the gentleman?
He was,
role?
yeah, he was very. I mean, he was in Camelot. When I was at the Beverly Hills Catholic School,
That's what that
he was in Camelot, and he was playing King Pellinore with Vanessa Redgrave and Richard Harris. So he played the really ancient king who comes out of the forest, and I was there and used to go on set and watch them filming.
And you were renting a house probably in Beverly Hills?
Mum and Dad, we lived at the Chateau Marmont Hotel.
Oh,
no
how
less.
chic you
I
were.
know.
Oh, for 2 years?
Yes, pretty much. And then we had a house.
Wow.
We had a house on 809 North Camden Drive,
Oh, which is great.
which was
A few blocks from where I live.
Yes, and I visited it a few years ago, and just before they pulled it down and built a sort of modern house. But it was Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy's love nest.
Oh, is that where they used to hide
Yes.
out?
Yeah, and she used to come and swim in the pool as
you were
part of our
there?
agreement.
That she could have it because she loved to swim every day, didn't she?
She'd come early in the morning, and we'd look out the window and see her.
Oh, that's so great. Is the influence of your father a part of your act? Is that why you went into to acting?
I think I wanted to be an actor. I'm a songwriter first and foremost.
Right.
I play the piano and sing, and I've been writing songs for years. But just like Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie, I couldn't get arrested as a songwriter. I was published by Elton John and John Reed, but I never had a hit. And
were you singing or just writing?
I was trying to get a publishing deal, and I was writing for other people, but it really wasn't happening. So I had this idea in my head of a character, which was Miss Hope Springs. And it took me a long time before I actually got out there. And in fact, I didn't do it until my father died. So
I was just going to ask, because did your father know? Let's talk about Hope Springs first.
Yes.
And let's talk about the idea that you were looking for some way to be in show business.
Yes.
Or to use your music, or to
Yes.
get out there. And so you created this drag queen.
yeah,
In a
Well,
way.
no,
She's not a drag queen.
She's not a drag queen. She's a woman. She's a fully formed woman with a history and a backstory and
like...
relationships and failed love affairs and.
So did you write her whole background?
Yes, I've written
So
an
do
entire.
you have a book?
I have a book up here, and I've done a number of shows. I mean, I've done probably 7.
I'm going to show what she looks like, because she is a very tall,
Yes.
blonde.
Yes.
You don't have any hair.
Sadly not.
Does the wig stay on very well?
It does. Somehow it does, and it also keeps me cooler. you
It
know.
does?
Yeah, because otherwise I'd have like insulation and a wig, so it just the heat goes through the top.
That's great.
But she's an ex-showgirl, nightclub singer, and I've written the entire repertoire of songs for her.
So
as
everything you do is original.
It's completely original.
You don't use any Noel Coward kind of
No.
thing, nothing. Oh, very interesting.
I sing about Noel Coward, about Hope meeting Noel Coward.
Do you?
At the fictitious Pink Pelican Casino where she worked. And I've written a song as if by Noel Coward, but all the songs were in different styles, from sort of the Burt Bacharach style to Michel Legrand style to Kurt Weill style. So it's
And are they in here?
Yes, there's
this is great.
that's my first CD, which is called Welcome to the Carnival, which is recorded live in London at the Crazy Cocks, where I have a residency in the West End.
And then on this side, she has is the whole hairdo. Looks like cotton candy.
Yeah.
Very tall.
Yeah,
So it makes you
she's-
very tall.
But people say when she's on stage and she's sitting at the piano, they think she's maybe 5'6", 5'7". She
she
doesn't.
doesn't look like...
I'm a bit of a shapeshifter, so I change. I've also got another CD called Queen of Fools, which I've just released.
When you're at the piano, are you telling stories
Yes.
and then singing?
Yes, I tell stories about her life and her husband Irving, who ran off with a guy called Carlos. And
Oh, I love it. This is
yeah.
so great. So there's a whole dialogue. It's a play.
It is musical theatre, really. It's musical theatre about a cabaret artist. It's about a woman's life, and the songs are or reflect aspects of her life. And they're funny songs, witty songs. People clap along and sing along, and then they're also, on a dime, I changed to a ballad, just like Barbra Streisand did in the early days. You know, there's
When
wonderful
was...
TV specials, and Bette Midler does, and Liza, of course, you know.
And you play the piano, obviously.
Yes.
Were you brought up with piano lessons?
Yes,
with
from
music?
5 years old.
Well, you were.
Yes, yes. I even had the fingers wrapped with a ruler.
Did you play another instrument?
I played violin, and
wow.
I studied composition. I was lucky enough to go to the Purcell School, which you mentioned, which is a wonderful music school.
So your father knew that you were very musical,
Yes.
obviously, and then, but he didn't know about this character.
He did more or less. He was unwell for about 8 years before he died, so he was he wasn't very present at that time. But he knew, of course. I mean, some American friends of ours left a Steinway in our shed, which we looked after, and I was only 5 years old, and I wandered into the potting shed with the terracotta pots and the trowels and the compost.
And a Steinway?
Yes.
Oh, that's a wonderful setting.
And I just started writing. I started writing immediately. I sat at the piano and I could write, and I never stopped writing. Yeah.
Oh, so that was great. Was your mother in show business?
My mother was an actress. She married they met at RADA.
Oh, they did,
London,
the Royal
RADA,
Academy?
Yeah, they met, fell in love. But they both appear in Stage Fright, the Hitchcock movie. Dad was very young, and he had a small part, and my mum had what she called a spit and a cough.
Oh,
you just sort of see a very glamorous blonde walk across the screen, and that was her career.
That was her career?
That was her career. She gave it up to look after us, me and my sisters.
And are they in show business?
No, my sister Elizabeth runs a hospice, a very big hospice in the south of England, and my sister Martha runs all the Montessori schools in the south of England. So
they're serious.
They're very serious.
But you're serious too. Your character has a very serious life,
yes,
right? Is it tragic?
Well, Miss Hope Springs, so
Yes.
it may be tragic, but there's always hope.
There's always hope. And how did you choose her name?
It just came to me. I just, having grown up around people like Shirley MacLaine and Shelley Winters coming to the house.
They were in London?
In London, and also over here,
here.
When I was young, and Diana Dawes, who was the British blonde bombshell.
Yeah.
She was
she looks like Hope Springs,
yes,
doesn't she?
Yeah, I've adopted a sort of look because Diana Dawes was a great friend of my mother's, and I got to see the sad side and the difficult side behind the glamorous exterior, and
That's
that fascinates me.
a very nice homage. Did you use any of her background, any of her
I think
biography?
she's a distillation
Is she
of
like
so many women, so many.
Hope is?
Hope. She's a bit of Peggy Lee. She's a bit of Judy Garland. She's a bit of Piaf. She's a bit of Dietrich. She's a bit Joan Crawford. She's got a little bit of everybody. Because to be here in the Hollywood Museum for me is a dream come true. Because Joan and Betty.
They're all here, aren't
they're
they?
all here.
They're all here, right?
Anne Southern I can see there, and Anna May Wong over there.
I know, isn't she great? She's beautiful.
It's fabulous to be here.
So where does Hope play? What kind of venues around the world?
Mainly cabaret rooms, high end usually.
In London, what will they be?
I play at I have a residency. I've been there for 4 years now in the West End, at the Crazy Cocks, which is in Piccadilly Circus, and it's the most beautiful Art Deco cabaret room, and I'm very lucky to be resident there on a regular basis.
And do they have more cabaret acts, or
yes,
what is it?
It's the premier cabaret room in London, really. We have a lot of real wonderful artists, Amanda McBroom, and people come over. Liliana Montevecchi came and did a show there. So it's really the best room, and I'm lucky, very, very lucky to be there.
So I was driving, I know you're in town from London, and when I was driving down the street, I knew you were going to be appearing at the Gardenia, and to my great thrill, there was your name, right in from London Ty Jeffries.
Yes.
And so you appeared at the Gardenia in
Yes.
Hollywood,
Yes.
which is down the street from here.
Yes.
What kind of a room is that?
That's a very, very classic, old school cabaret room. I think it's one of the last ones around. And I played a lovely room in San Diego, Martini's above 4th, and I played the Metropolitan Room in New York. So, and then San Francisco. So I've really done a tour of 10 dates.
How long is your act?
It varies, of course, from situations, but usually it's at least an hour. And then in some situations I do 45 minutes, and then there's an interval, and I do another.
Oh, you do?
And I also do it solo at the piano, or I do it with my band, bass and drums as well.
Oh, you have a bass. Do they come with you, or do you get them in each city?
I get them in each city.
You get them in each city. What are the highlights of those, of her telling her story? What's the highlight of your show?
I think the highlight of the show for a lot of people is the song I always close with, which is a song called "The Devil Made Me Do It." And it sort of sums up Hope's life, her mischievous qualities.
She has a very deep voice, doesn't she? Do
Yeah.
you change your voice?
No, I don't. I'm somewhere, I'm somewhere, I'm sort of like 1 part Blossom Dearie and 2 parts B. Arthur.
Oh, you've
with a
brought
bit of
all
Joan
these
Burnett.
things out. You've brought all
Bit
these...
of Carol Burnett thrown in, yeah.
With all these wonderful people that you've talked about today, and Hope is friends of all of them.
Even if it's just in her mind, she's friends with all of them.
She's friends
Barbara
with all
Streisand
of
is her, what she calls a close-enough friend, a close personal friend.
Close enough friend.
Yes.
Do you change the act often?
There's a lot of material there. I've been doing it, as I said, for 4 years, and I changed the show every 3 months. When I was there on a weekly basis, I changed the show every 3 months.
Oh, right.
I did Miss Hope Springs, Je m'appelle Hope, the
in
French show,
Right.
and I did Miss Hope Springs Out of This World, and I did Miss Hope Springs Recovering Showgirl. So there are several shows with all different songs. So
And does she wear different costumes, different
she
wigs?
she now wears one outfit.
Only. So
Yeah.
that's her costume.
That's it. Black. It's a black sequin pantsuit. It's all she has. She left the Pink Pelican Casino in. Well, was a publicity shot, but from recently she just wears a black pant, like Shirley MacLaine or Liza would.
Do you see Hope's life changing as she gets older?
Hope doesn't get older.
There is hope for us.
She's eternally 39. So.
And before we leave, I know it takes you a long time to get into makeup. Just give us a quick process of what you do.
Well, it starts in the morning with a shaving of the arms and legs, because I'm a character actor, so I do get into character. There are no shortcuts. And then of course I shave my face, and then I just block my face out with different
You have heavy makeup,
foundations,
yeah.
and contouring, and several pairs of eyelashes.
I was just going to say eyelashes. Do you use glasses on the set?
I do sometimes, because if she has to read something, she needs them.
She needs her glasses. And then the wig.
The wig.
Do you have a lot of wigs?
She doesn't call it wig, she calls it her hair.
Her hair. Do you
Yes.
have a lot of her hairs?
Hope, well, she's down on her luck.
Oh.
She left the Pink Pelican Casino in 1972 with a suitcase. The last thing she could grab was the outfit she wears, some
her
sheet
black.
music, a pair of earrings, and that's it. And that's all she's got. So a little bit actually like Anne Southern in the Maisie movies, if you remember those.
Yeah.
Hope is a sort of almost like Lassie. She comes to a town, she moves people, she affects their life, she changes their lives a little bit, and then she's gone.
And then she leaves. Poof. And
Poof.
we're gone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ty.
Thank you, Joan.
Thanks for watching. Keep writing to JAQUINN1 at AOL.com. Bye.